Hi, everybody. It is Wednesday, April 18th, and I'm so excited for a team call, per usual. But honestly, I'm really excited about this topic. This is kind of stemmed out of a conversation that Jackie and I have regularly about kind of what does it take for coaches to be really successful in this business long term. And she's going to get into the nitty gritty of all of this, but it's kind of like long-term successful in terms of fulfilled and happy and loving this business. And we've both been here for over 4.5 years, or almost 4.5 years. And Jackie was the first coach on this team and believed in me before I believed in myself and what we could do and what this could turn into. So I think this is going to be really valuable regardless of tenure. I always get so weird about introducing Jackie because I'm just so obsessed with her as a person. But from an accolade standpoint, what she's done in the last couple of months in her business has been so cool to watch. If you guys have noticed, Jackie's added a lot of new coaches. She's hitting high success club numbers. She's really found this like cool rhythm that's working really, really well for her beyond what it even has in, 4+ years prior. She just had her first $2K weekly paycheck, which is so exciting. And she's just freaking crushing this business. So I'm just going to let her do her thing and not get all weird and be like, I'm obsessed with her and she's perfect, but she is. So without further ado, Jackie, the floor is yours, girl. Let's do this.
Hi, guys. Okay. Oh my gosh. Everyone in the chat are just blowing it up. I love you guys so much. Whoa, my face just got really big. I'm going to go back to gallery. Hey, girl. All right. So I'm excited to chat with you guys tonight. I did have a glass of wine as I normally do before team calls. So I'm feeling extra sweaty and saucy, which is always good. So excited to kick things off here and excited for everyone that's going to be in Mexico tomorrow. I can't wait to see you guys. Like Keisha said, I have been a coach for over 4 years now. I actually ran my very first challenge group in April of 2014. So been around the block a few times with this. And something like Keisha said, kind of where this topic got started is the combination of us being here literally the longest. When you think about the fact that Keisha started the team and I was her first coach, there's no one here that was longer than the two of us. But really talking about, with all of these new girls that are joining and all of these new leaders that are emerging and everyone that's kind of doing their thing and finding their flow. And as we find new ways to really build this business, looking at, what keeps people here long-term? How do we get past just those initial accolades? How do we keep growing this business to the point where people are truly lifers in this business? And also really what happened what were the people missing that ended up walking away from this? Kind of what were they lacking? Where was it fulfillment? Was it anything else that we're going to talk about tonight? And then also throughout all of those things, how do we find fulfillment in the foundation of what we're doing? And I think that's such an important thing that often gets overlooked when you only talk about the opportunity, when you only talk about Success Club or rank or things like that, talking really about that fulfillment piece. So I kind of want to talk about all of those different things tonight and sort of bring them together and just kind of see sort of where this goes. But basically, when I was thinking about this topic and kind of thinking about sort of what all of these pieces mean, I want you guys to kind of think about when you envision sort of that coach that you look up to right now, somebody that you just feel when you look at her, she is confident. She feels like she is the definition of what your definition of success is. She's having so much fun. She's feeling fulfilled. And you can just tell she is in this for the long haul. That to me is a coach. And we're just going to call her tonight kind of the it factor coach. She's really kind of just seems to have her ish together. And she is in this for all the right reasons. Now, I genuinely believe that there are about 4 kind of traits or 4 different things that come together. And when those things come together, that is what creates sort of that it factor coach. And now what's really cool about that concept is that everyone really does get to come into this business with little pieces of each of those 4 things. I don't think anyone really starts at 0, but maybe as a new coach, you come in with a little bit more of something and a little bit less of something else. Maybe you're kind of even across the board. And what ends up happening is to get you to build a business long-term successfully and in a fulfilling way, what you're doing is you're growing or you're filling your cups in each one of these different 4 areas until your cup is overflowing. And I think what's also a really cool concept and something that's important to remember as we think about the long haul of all of this is that for the it factor coach or the girl that has her cups that are filling up, oftentimes I think that in order for her to continue that long-term success, once her cup is full, she gets a bigger cup and she never stops filling her cup. She never stops growing. And so that's kind of what we're seeking out on this call is really how can we fill our cups in these 4 different areas, which I'll label in just a second here. Now, what's also important to remember is that at the start of all this, when you're a brand new coach, the 101 of building your business and how you're going to be successful and how you're going to keep showing up and keep doing this is you do have to master the basics, the 101, the 4 vital behaviors, the 3 vital behaviors, 2 of them being the personal development and being proof of the product. And I'm going to spend less than 2 minutes talking about this because this call is about long-term success. And if you haven't mastered personal development and being proof of the product, like I give you 6 months kind of thing, because I don't think there's anything more obvious than when a coach is like, I'm struggling to like have people join my team, or I'm struggling to hit Success Club. And then it's like, girlfriend, you're also not drinking Shakeology. So duh. So I mean, not to be rude or anything like that, but we're not going to spend time talking about that tonight because I think that that is 101. And if you want to be here long-term, we have to master those initial things. Personal development also being another big one of those. You have to put in the work to work on your mind. Just like you're doing the workouts to work on your physical body, you have to do the personal development to work on your brain. And it's not even just for you. It's not just for how you process information and how you understand your own internal self, but it gives you so many more tools in your toolbox to handle the scenarios that come your way as you start to build this business bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you do think about that long-term success, that like you're here 4, 5, 10, 15 years from now, imagine the amount of scenarios and the amount of situations you're going to find yourself in as you're talking to all of these hundreds of people. The more tools you have in your mental toolkit, the better you're going to be able to handle each one of those unique situations. So you have to master those 2 things, and then we can start to grow into what does it take to really become long-term successful and fulfilled along the way. So with that, I should probably preface too, my style of speaking, it's a combination of very teacher style and preacher style. So you're going to get a little bit of both of those. I like to talk a lot about like concepts and definitions, but I also kind of go on tangents and drop like random truth bombs. I also do accidentally swear a lot. It does happen. So if you have like kids that are of the age that repeat things, just like monitor that. I'll try and be nice, but like it just happens and I don't even realize I do it sometimes. So with that, the 4 kind of major areas that we're going to talk about tonight are going to be these 4 things. 1, talking about work ethic. How much work are you putting into this? We're going to talk about grit. We're going to talk about passion for impact. And we're going to talk about long-term vision or long-term belief. And the combination of these 4 things and how we can build them up and work on them is what's going to create the trifecta of success, fulfillment, and being here for the long haul. So to kind of kick things off, I do want to talk about work ethic. Now, this is definitely a topic that I think we've talked about in multiple other team calls. We have gone over this concept, but I think it's important when we talk about what this is and kind of how you need to master this in order to continue filling up your cup in that area. So the first thing first is this business, it's really, really, really built on the compound effect. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it is the small little things that you do every single day that build up into massive momentum and massive action taking. And it's the whole analogy, if you've heard it before, I'm sure everyone has, where it's would you take $1 million up front or would you take a penny a day for a month that doubles on itself? That's what the compound effect is. It's small little things that grow into major things over time, even if the beginning seems to start slower. So that's really what this business is built on. It's the same thing as your fitness journey. If you have 50 pounds to lose, you're not going to be able to wake up one day and be like, I'm going to work out for 10 hours today and lose all 50 pounds. No, you're going to have to work out 30 minutes a day over the next however many months that takes, and you will burn off that 50 pounds kind of thing. So that's how this business long-term, it's that daily action. Now, something that's really, really important to remember, and this is where I see a lot of coaches struggle, is that we have a very misleading idea that we are going to be motivated every single day to take action. And that's really not how it works. And I know we've kind of talked about this before, but I know there's also a lot of new people on the team, so I want to make sure we cover it. Motivation does not inspire action. It's action that inspires motivation. And what happens is coaches all the time, they sit around and they think, I just can't find the motivation. I just can't find the motivation, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, of course, because what it is, guys, is it is easier to partake in destructive behaviors than it is to partake in behaviors that are going to move you forward. It's easier to watch TV for 5 hours than it is to have a conversation with a human. It is easier to sleep in than it is to wake up early and get your workout done. But what is going to move you forward? It's the action. And just like with the workout example, I mean, I am the girl that can sleep for 12 hours without question. Like, ask Andy. If there's no alarm set, I'm not waking up till like 2 p.m. But, so I'm not going to wake up motivated at like 5 a.m. like some of these girls on this call, Casey Rashavi and Keisha. Like, those girls like pop out of bed when the sunshine comes up. But it's, you know, I set my alarm for 6 a.m. And even then, I'm not motivated to work out at all. I would much rather be motivated to hit the snooze button. But I get up, I eat my breakfast, I drink my Energize, I push play. And even when I push play, I'm typically not motivated to work out. Even the warm-up kind of sucks. You know how like when you're in the warm-up, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to be doing this. But it's about 5 minutes in where you're like, oh my gosh, I feel pumped. I am going to lift heavier. I'm going to squat lower. I'm going to dominate this workout. Half the time at the end, you're like, I'm going to throw in a few extra ab moves. You are feeling motivated because of the action that you took. And the same thing with your business activities. Half the time, if I'm watching like Criminal Minds or something, it's easier to keep doing that than it is to go pick up my phone and have a conversation with some like real person. But the minute I do it, the minute I just like pick up my phone and send that message, guess what happens? I send another and another because now I'm excited. I broke the cycle of what I was doing of just being lazy and numb. I broke the cycle, I took action, and now I'm motivated. I'm ready to go, I'm pumped up. I want to keep like talking to new people. So we have to get out of the mindset that motivation is what you need. You do not need motivation. You need discipline in taking action. And you are the only person that can control that. The next thing I kind of want to talk about with that, with work ethic and things along those lines, is the concept of broken promises. Now, I heard this analogy in a podcast the other day, and I thought it was really an interesting new way to think about how impactful it can be if we don't follow through with what we say we're going to do. So imagine if you have a friend, and your friend, she makes plans with you, but every time she makes plans with you, she bails. She always last minute cancels on you, doesn't show up for her appointments, whatever. The first few times it happens, you're going to be like, okay, totally get it. Things come up, life happens, whatever. The next few times it happens, you're going to start to get a little frustrated. You're going to be like, okay, this is kind of annoying. I was counting on you. You didn't show up, but all right, we'll plan it again next time. The next time she doesn't show up, now you start to expect it. You start to be like, okay, yes, of course, I hope to see you. I would love to see you, but I also anticipate that you're going to cancel. And then you finally get to the stage where you lose all emotional connection to that commitment in any way, shape, or form. So when she says, hey, I'd love to see you. Are you free on Tuesday? You're like, yeah, sure, whatever, girl. You don't even check your calendar to see if you're free because you know she's going to cancel anyway. Your brain doesn't attach an emotion to her invite at all because she's canceled on you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Well, the messed up thing is that is what our brains do to us every single time we don't follow through with, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to start tomorrow. I'll push play on Monday. Every time we don't follow through with a promise that we made to ourselves, our brains go through that grieving process. And eventually, if you break enough promises to yourself, your brain, as much as you're sitting there with your glittery, sparkly pens and your perfect planner and all of these things that you just bought to set yourself up for the perfect routine, your brain's like, yeah, that looks good, but it is not in any way, shape, or form changing any desire to actually follow through on those actions. It has no emotional connection to it. So what we have to do is be aware of that, and actually the next day or that day, we have to force ourselves. We have to take action. And that's where it's not easy, you guys. Like, especially if however many times the more times you've broken those promises, the more you have to do to come back and build that trust. And you have to be willing to do that. If you want to be here long term, if you want to have success and fulfillment in this business, you have to be willing to say, I'm going to show up and I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up. Even though your brain is like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And just like your girlfriend, even if she showed up one time, you would be pumped, but you wouldn't trust that she would do it again. It would take her the amount of time that she bailed on you. It would take her that much time and then some before that trust was 100% built back. And that's what we have to be willing to do with ourselves. So that means be prepared that you're up against years of broken promises. And that's okay. If you believe that this is where you're meant to be and this is what you want to be doing and there's opportunity here, why not just stick it out and keep proving yourself that you're not going to break any more promises, that you're going to follow through. There's nothing to lose and just keeping going. So with that said, the next thing I want to talk about with work ethic is talking about what's realistic. Because also what I see happen oftentimes is a coach does get that spark of motivation. Maybe they took a little bit of action that day. They had a good call with their upline. They signed up a new coach and they're feeling fired up. So now all of a sudden they're like, I'm going to set some major goals. And all of a sudden they have not been consistent with sending any amounts of Hey Girls or invites. And all of a sudden they're telling you, I'm going to send 20 Hey Girls a day. I'm going to send 20 invites a day. I'm going to work on my business for like 7 hours tomorrow or this weekend. And of course you're like, that's so awesome. But that's not going to be realistic long-term at all. So just like your girlfriend that bails on you, if she was all of a sudden like, I'm going to meet you for coffee every day for the next 2 years, you're going to be like, that sounds great, but no freaking chance. So we have to be aware too that as we're starting to build these muscles back up and we're starting to create those habits again, we can't set ourselves up for failure by setting our goals too big. Now, this isn't meant to be a, aim lower or anything like that, but it is meant to be, you can't walk into a gym and pick up a 200-pound weight. You need to walk into the gym and pick up a 5-pound, then a 10-pound, then a 20-pound kind of thing. And that's what we build up to. So that's what we have to understand, what's realistic. And another way to think about that is think about what you currently go through in a day. Like whether that's with your kids, with your husband, with your wife, with your coworkers, whatever your day typically looks like. Now, when you're going to be adding in this work, you're adding in that much more human interaction. And that's really important to think about because human interaction, for most of us, I hope, is energetic and it's fun and it's something that we love to do. We love having those conversations with people, but at the same time, too much of it can be draining. If you all know how it goes. You've just come back from a crazy trip or a crazy social event or something, and you're like, I can't speak to another human for like 24 hours. I need my space. Well, that's what we have to think about every single day. What's our max before we get drained? And if you try and add in too many new human interactions in one day too often, you're not going to be able to stick with this because your energy is going to be so low that you're not even going to be able to deliver on those conversations that you're trying to have. So that's where we have to set those really intentional goals, follow through with them, build up that muscle, and continue the compound effect. And that's one piece of the It Factor coach. That coach who is like killing it and slaying it and getting it done, I guarantee you she has a very strong work ethic. And I also guarantee you she's very aware of how much she can handle. What is her bandwidth? What is her energy protected by? And she is intentional with all of that, and then she moves forward into the other areas. So that's what we're working towards. And that's the cool thing. That's what we're filling up. That's one piece of one of the 4 cups, 1/4. And we work on that. So any questions on work ethic? All right, we're moving on. If there is one, Keisha can tell me later. The next thing I do want to talk about is this concept of grit. Now, I've just recently been learning about grit, and I think it's a really funny word because it reminds me of like those little cheesy potato things. Is that grits? What are those called? But I don't actually know, but I like the word grit. So there is essentially 5 different like concepts of grit, and I think that they are all equally very important as we talk about filling up your grit cup. So the 5 pieces of grit, the number one, and I would say every It Factor coach of what we'll say has a high level of grit. And as I break down these 5 areas, you will see the coach that you started thinking of at the beginning of this call, you're probably like, oh dang, she has a lot of these areas. And if she doesn't, she's very vocal about improving in these areas. So number 1 of grit is simply courage, which is essentially the ability to embrace fear and failure. An it factor coach or somebody that's improving in this area, they embrace failure because they know that if they set a goal, they completely are aware of the fact that they might miss that goal and they might fail. But they are equally aware that they will get closer to it than if they never started in the first place. And so to them, it's a learning opportunity, it's a growth opportunity, and it is something that you better believe they're going to put their all into regardless of the failure opportunity. The other thing with his courage is embracing that fear factor. There are going to be things in this business that scare the ish out of us. There's going to be things, people come in with different things that they're comfortable with and different things that scare them. And what we have to do is just know the only way to get past that fear is to do those things. And I think the invite, sending invites and sending hey girls are often what I hear from people is one of the number one things they're fearful of. They're fearful to send that invite. And I wish there was a way that we could tell you, if you send 50 invites, by 51, you will never be scared to do it. And if we could, I guarantee you every single one of you would be working your way through that 50 because you'd be like, okay, if I just send 50, I won't be scared anymore. That's the mindset we have to have. And each one of us has a different number. Maybe for one of you, it was 5 invites and now you're not scared anymore. Maybe it was 0. Maybe for one of you, it might be 500 invites. But if you knew after that very last one that you wouldn't be scared anymore, wouldn't it be worth it? That is courage. That is one factor of grit. And we have to have that if we want to build a long-term successful business. Otherwise, we're not going to get anywhere. We're just going to stay stuck in our own fear. The second part of grit is these people are achievement oriented. And the way to kind of think about this a little bit is, are you the person that's going for gold or are you the person that's showing up for practice? Like, what kind of person are you? And I think about this often because I've never really been able to put a terminology to some of the things that I do sometimes. But I really think that this is one area that I'm really good in because I have found myself on the last day of the month pulling out all the stops in order to hit Success Club. Like, I'm talking going through the memory bank of people that I know and people that I'm going to invite and people that I'm going to talk to. And I am relentless because I was achievement oriented. It wasn't, well, I was going to send 5 invites every single day this month and I did that and it didn't work out. Oh, well. Oh, no way. That is not good enough. I am achievement oriented, as are all of you on this call. So what are you going to do what it takes to get as close as you can to your goal? Now, that's not to say that you're going to hit your goal every time, but are you the person that's doing what it takes to get as close as you can? Or are you the person that's saying, it was good enough, I tried, it just didn't work out this time, sort of thing? So we have to be the person that goes for gold. And that, again, is going to be that person that continues to grow bigger long term. They're always going to have their eyes set on, how can I make this work better, bigger, faster, more efficient, all of these different things. They're not just going to settle for what is fine, that sort of thing. Now, the third thing, if I keep looking over here, it's because my whiteboard's over here. The third thing is that your practice must have purpose. Now, what this means is with the behaviors that you're doing, there needs to be an intentional purpose behind it. And this is where, if you don't have that, you're going to find yourself in burnout mode. Because I've seen too many coaches who just find themselves caught up in the repeat of, okay, hey girl, I invite, I run a challenge group. Hey girl, I invite, I run a challenge group. What's next? What's next? What's next? Like, what's the point of all this? And we can't get so caught up in just going through the motions that we forget what we're striving for long term. And that's where practice having a purpose is. I've talked about this before on a team call. When I'm going to run a challenge group, you best believe I know the vibe of my challenge group. Is it lifestyle focused, fitness focused, nutrition focused? What kind of girl is going to thrive in this challenge group? What kind of girl am I targeting? What are her fitness goals? What's going to be her end game? I know what I'm targeting. And then when I go out and I start seeking out those relationships, from the moment when I'm starting out on Instagram and I'm hitting that follow button on their page, it's not just I'm following people to follow people because somebody told me I should aim to follow a certain amount of people every single day. I'm hitting that follow button, and then the wheels are turning. This girl's going to follow me back. Then I'm going to start a relationship with her. I'm going to invite her to my challenge group. She's going to freaking love it. She's going to fall in love with the process. She's totally going to become a coach. Then she's going to want to build a business, and her life is forever changed. That is purpose behind the practice. That is holding on to the long-term potential with every single conversation I'm having. And it's about them and it's about the long-term goal. It's never about, oh, I just need this person to sign up so I can hit Success Club this month. Like, that's never about that. It is, this person could potentially be an asset to our team, and this team could be an asset to this person for them to have an entirely different life 21 days later, kind of thing. So that is what we have to have. We have to have intention and purpose behind the behaviors that we're doing as we build this business. Now, the fourth thing of grit is resilience. And this is one of my favorite ones. And there's actually 3 subcategories of resilience. So here's the teacher mode coming in. Now, resilience, I think this is something that you'll see in a lot of top leaders on this team. I think that resilience is an incredibly big thing that you need to have in order to be here long term. But number 1 of resilience is that these people genuinely believe that they will find their purpose in life and that they can create meaning in their life. These are not going to be the people that you find saying, it is what it is. I'm fine with that. I'm settling for this. I have no control. No, these are the people that are going to stop at freaking nothing to create meaning in their life, to fulfill their purpose of why they're here on earth. And they never stop believing that their purpose is complete. They never will stop saying, okay, my purpose is filled. Like, I'm good. They're going to be like, I can do more. I can be bigger. I can help more people. I can impact the world bigger. That's what purpose is. That's meaning in their life. And every single time they get to the next level of that, they're seeking bigger and more. Because they have that resilience, they're not going to stop. The second thing about that is that people with strong resilience, they genuinely believe that you influence your surroundings and you influence the outcome. So again, not the people that you're ever going to hear say, why me? The world is out to get me. I'm a victim. I didn't hit Success Club because everyone told me no. That's not what you're going to hear from these people. What you're going to hear from these people is, what can I take responsibility for? What could I have done differently? What can I learn from this? How can I improve next time? And I choose to take control over what I can control, and that is it. I choose to pay attention to what I can control, and that is it. I can't control what people tell me. I can't control what people do. I can't control hater messages, anything like that. I can control my reaction, my thoughts, my behavior, what I do with my life. That is it. That is resilience. And when you take control of your situation, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, okay, I don't feel like I've actually, in my 4 years of coaching, gotten that many haters. Like, that seems, for those of you who might be like, I get haters all the time, you're probably like, F you. But the thing is, I actually probably have gotten a bunch, but I don't process them as haters. I process them as, oh, that girl's in some pain. Hi, emoji, emoji, emoji. Hey, girl, like, how can I help you? And it's that reaction that is, all I can control is how I react to something. All I can control is my thoughts and my feelings and how I view the world. I can't control what Susie Joe is doing over on, like, over there, wherever she is. So that's resilience. And then the third part of resilience is that we genuinely believe that every positive experience, but equally every negative experience, is an opportunity for learning and growth. And I think something that, I think Keisha does a really great job of this. You'll notice no matter what happens, no matter what experience she's gone through or goal she's missed or anything negative that's gone on, you will always hear her say, what I learned from this was, or what I didn't expect to learn but did and like see happen was this, or moving forward, what I'll do differently is XYZ. She never says, that effing sucked, I hate my life and all that. Like, no, she literally stops and says, what can I learn from this? Okay. And then you'll probably hear her say too, I'm glad it happened. I'm actually glad that happened. As much as it sucks, I'm glad it happened. That is resilience. And that is what we have to adopt and learn to have. And I promise you, you won't get there without personal development. Now, the fifth part of grit is the concept of excellence versus perfectionism. Now, this is huge, guys, because perfectionism is essentially an end goal, an outcome, or whatever you want to call it. And it's when we measure our worth based on that one end product, AKA not healthy. Excellence is what resilient people have. Excellence is a mindset and an attitude. It means I'm going to show up, I'm going to do my best, I'm going to put all I have into this with the tools that I currently have available to me in my toolbox, and I'm going to take the end outcome and I'm going to see what I can improve from there. And with that, that's how you always keep growing forward. You never stop and stay stuck. You never value your worth based on one end product. Because I'll tell you right now, especially for those of you who have been on this team for a long time, how many times have we redone Fit Foundation training? Countless. And I will tell you, if Keisha and I measured our leadership worth on the very first training we launched, none y'all would be here because we would have stopped after the first training. I'm pretty sure it was like 80 days long or 60 days long, and it was a hot mess. So what we did is we took it, we ran with it. We were like, how do we improve this? And we made it better and better and better. And now here we are. And now we have like 7-day trainings. We have 2 different, all this stuff. And there's still conversations of how do we make this better? We don't measure our worth based on that. So we have to constantly have this mindset of excellence. Just we are only going to get better the more we try. And this ties right into the whole concept of you can't be afraid of failure. Because if you are, how are you going to improve? How are you going to get stronger? How are you going to make something better if you don't see how it works the first time around? You know what I mean? So we have to just show up, give it our all, and see what happens, and then learn and improve and grow from there. So that is grit, my new favorite word, and not cheesy potatoes. So the other thing, so the third thing, and keep in mind too, all of these things again are always growing. These are how we create long-term success and fulfillment. And at the very end, I'll kind of tie these together a little bit more. But the third thing that I do think that every one of those it factor coaches has, that girl that she is just like killing the game, is the passion for impact. And I think this is very, very, very important to remember. And this was actually kind of a hard category to figure out how to talk about, because I think there's so many different ways to talk about impact and fulfillment, all of this. But I think a really simplified way to think about it is, let's say there's like a chart here, which is the line. What we're seeking to find is the middle ground. And here's what's going to go on here. There's a group of people that start this business on this side of the fence. And these are the people that are just, I just want to help everyone. I'm so excited. I just want to help people. Blah! I'm pumped. That's great. There's also this side of the fence. And these are the people that see the business opportunity early on. And they're like, okay, tell me the ranks, tell me the Success Club numbers, tell me my income potential. That's what I'm building for. I'm building for income, rank, and Success Club, and these like metric business-driven concepts. What we need to do is bring it here. And here's why. If you're too far on this side of the fence, you're just wanting to, I just want to help everyone. I just want to help everyone. That's great. And that's awesome. And your heart is super big and juicy, but which just sounds really creepy as I say that out loud. But your business is never actually going to move forward if you're too much that way, because you're going to get blinded by the fact that you want to help people so much that you're not going to stop and think, how can I best help this person in a way that makes sense for both their success and our success, kind of thing. So to kind of back up a little bit, to get here, the question we want to ask ourselves is, what is the impact we are leaving on this person? That is, I think, the simplest way to really keep ourselves in check the entire time. So again, to go over here, if you're just wanting to help everyone, if you take a second and slow down and say, what's the impact I'm leaving on this person? If we're just seeking to help everyone and we're letting everyone join our challenge groups and we're not having them drink Shakeology because they told us they just want to do the workout or they just want our support or they want all of that, think of yourself, I love analogies, but if you were hosting a marathon, you were going to like have a marathon and you're going to invite all these girls to run the marathon with you. If you were the marathon person and you're like, yeah, girl, you can totally run the marathon and you can definitely do it in Converse. It's not going to be as good. You could totally do it in Converse. I believe in you. That girl might run the marathon and she might make it all 26 miles, but her experience is going to freaking suck. Like nobody wants to, I get like a blister just walking in Converse like half the time. So think about all the energy you're going to pour into her as you try and motivate her through all 26 miles while she's having a shitty experience because she's running it in Converse. And you're like, well, I just wanted to help her. I knew she wanted to run 26 miles, so I just let her do it. Not a good move, right? But instead, if we slowed down and said, girl, I want you to run this 26 miles. I believe in you. I know you can do it, but I'm not going to let you do it until you invest in the running shoes, aka the Shakeology. Because your experience isn't going to be nearly as good. you're not going to want to come back and do it again. You're going to have shittier results or poopier results, like whatever it might be, and all of it. So you can't get blinded by just wanting to help people. You have to think about the impact that you're leaving on them and understand that the challenge pack isn't the sales. The challenge pack is the impact. It is what is the best way for them to get started. What is the best way to kick off their experience in a way that's going to keep them here long-term, help them get the results that they came to you for. That's the other thing too. Whether you reached out to them first or they came to you, at the end of the day, the conversation being had is that you want to help them fix their problems. And their problems can be fixed with nutrition, fitness, accountability. That is the perfect solution to what we have going on. So that's what we have to offer people. Now, on the flip side, if you're too caught up over here and you're just caught up in, I want to make money, I want to run Success Club, whatever, the way you keep yourself in check, what's the impact I'm leaving on this person? If you're signing up too many people to where you can't even manage your challenge group because there's too many people, what's that impact? It's not actually a good one, right? Like you're not actually being able to help those people because you have too many people that you're bringing on because you're too focused on the Success Club numbers. Same with rank and income. What's the experience or the impact you're leaving on your coaches if you're getting pissed at them for not building fast enough? Like that's not a good impact. Like we have to ask ourselves, what's the impact on the individual? And when we do that, it's going to bring us to that middle ground. It's going to ground us a little bit enough to say, okay, if I'm just signing this person up for Success Club numbers, also what's going to happen when they come to you the next day after you hit Success Club and they're like, now I have all these questions, you're going to be like, oh girl, I'm over it. I already hit my goals. Like, I don't want to, like that's horrible. And then she's going to feel like she's not having a genuine relationship with you. She's going to feel like she just got sold something, like all of that. So you don't want to leave that impact either. So we have to find that fulfillment in every single individual. And I promise you, it's one of those things where you will not know what it feels like until it's happening to you. But when you ask yourself, what's the impact I'm leaving? And then you deliver on that. And then they come back to you and they're like, because of you, my life has changed. I'm like getting chills thinking about it, like, cause it's happening. It's like, they come back and they're like, because of you, my marriage is better. My confidence is higher. My income is more flexible. My debt is down. My kids are healthier. I'm like in tears because I have so many girls right after 80 Day Obsession that were like, anyone else doing those like booty checks in the mirror? They're like walking past windows and they're like totally checking themselves out. And I'm like, yes, girl. Like that is the best ever because we're slowing down and leaving that impact on those people. And that's where fulfillment is going to come into play. And if you don't have that, if you stay too far here, you're going to also, it's not going to be worth it too. Like that's the other thing is if your whole focus is how can I make money? How can I make money? How can I make money? You're not going to ever enjoy the process and find the impact. And I don't care what kind of income potential there is in this business. Eventually the work will stop being worth it. And think of it like this. This is a very extreme example, but if somebody came to you and was like, I'll give you $1 million a year, but every single day I get to like smash one of your fingers with a hammer. Okay, maybe for like the first like 6 months that would maybe work, but eventually you're going to be like, F that, the $1 million isn't even worth it. You can make millions of dollars in Beachbody, but if you don't love the process, if you don't love what you're doing, if you don't find fulfillment in every individual you're talking to, the millions are never worth it. Like it's not worth it. Just like if you're over here, if your business isn't going anywhere, you're going to go find having fun talking to people elsewhere. That's the thing too. You can find that freedom of connecting with other women and having that like relationship and building those free Facebook groups. People do that all the time without Beachbody, and you can do that too. But you're here because you want to build a business. So we have to like bring it in a little bit and all of those and find those impact moments. So that is what I have to say on fulfillment there. I think just slow down, right? Slow down, ask yourself what the impact is on that individual. And then when you get those because of you messages, fulfillment will just be everything you could ever want in life. Now, the last thing is talking about long-term belief. Now, this was another one that was kind of hard to talk about because long-term belief is such an intangible thing to measure or to work on or things like that. But I think that there is a group of people. So I guess to kind of like tie it in for a second here, grit. So the trifecta that we're going for here, long-term success and fulfillment. Grit and work ethic are going to create success. Passion for impact is going to create fulfillment. Long-term belief is what will keep you here long-term. You need all 4 of these things to fulfill that trifecta. But long-term belief, that is so crucial because everything else, you can go do that elsewhere. You have to have long-term belief in this opportunity to be here a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. And here's what you can do. Some of you joined this business and you already understood the long-term potential. You're like, yep, I totally see it. I totally get it. Maybe it took a few months, but you saw what was possible. And that will keep you here, or did keep you here long enough to fill up your cup in these other areas, the grit, the work ethic, the fulfillment, all of those things. Some of you other people might be stronger in the area of fulfillment or work ethic or grit or these other areas, but the long-term belief you're a little unsure of. You're not really sure what the potential is long-term. Is this worth sticking it out when the going gets tough? You know, what does that look like? And this is where I just have to say, we need to pick people that we can borrow belief from. And I think that it's important to find it from a couple different people. I think that there are those people that are on like chapter 15 where they've been in the business for a few years. They're multiple 6-figure earners. They have the accolades. They're killing it. And you're like, yeah, that's awesome. I could totally see myself doing that. But that's so far away that it won't keep you here when it really, really gets tough. So you have to also find that person that is at that next milestone that you're currently striving for. Find that person that you look up to. So maybe you are an emerald coach and you're like, it's tough right now, but I want to stick it out long enough to go diamond. And I see that Lo is a diamond. I freaking love her vibe. I love what she has going on. So I'm gonna borrow her belief and I'm gonna stick it out long enough to get on Lo's level. And then when you get on Lo's level and you're like, okay, girl, we're in this together. And then both of you are like, okay, I want to like look to the next chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter. And you start finding those coaches that you borrow belief from to slowly get you there until at some point you are like, whoa, yeah, no, I get it. I'll be here long-term with or without any of you other people. I'm going to keep showing up and doing this. But it might take some coaches, it takes them years to find that. Some coaches find it right away. But with every single one of these concepts, all 4 of them, it takes time and it takes intention and it takes belief. And it really just takes the desire to want to fill your cup in those areas. You have to want to build your grit. You have to want to improve your work ethic. You have to want to find the impact in every single person. And you have to believe that you want to be here long term. And I will tell you, as the girl, again, that's been here for 4 years, there have been times where this business was freaking hard, where I was doubting myself. I was doubting my journey. I was doubting what I was doing here. I was doubting my purpose, like all of these things. Work ethic sucked. Passion for impact was lacking. My grit was all over the place. But my long-term belief was here because I was looking to people that I was inspired by and said, okay, they're showing me that if I just stay here and I keep showing up and I keep working on these other areas, eventually this will work. And that's the thing. The time is going to go by anyway. So whether you're here and it takes you a year to get to where you want to be, it takes you 5 years to where you get to want to be, who cares? You have a life outside of Beachbody and that life is going to continue regardless. So if you have the opportunity to do something else in your spare time and those things are working on your human self, whether that's from a physical or internal standpoint, and you get the opportunity to impact others and to create change in other people's life and create opportunity and grow and just become a better person all around and be part of this community, why walk away from that when you don't know what could happen when you break through? And that's what's so important. You have no idea what might happen when you finally break through. You finally fill up that grit cup or you finally fill up that work ethic cup. You know, like thank God for every single one of you that is still here that has gone through one of those hard moments. Good thing you didn't walk away earlier, because I guarantee you're sitting here tonight and you're like, yes, I'm so glad I'm here, because think about your most recent challenger that you just signed up that you're so freaking stoked about. That girl wouldn't be here if you had walked away a month ago when it did get hard or when you were second guessing yourself. Like, we have to just keep showing up and believing that things are going to keep getting better. And you just have to be willing to put in the work and grow your cups and get bigger cups and keep filling them up and then pour them into other people and borrow that belief. And the coolest thing that I have found recently is when you borrow other people's belief long enough to where you're able to find your own, you then get to pour your own belief into people who need to borrow it. And that is one of the most fulfilling feelings I have ever felt, where now I can sit here and believe so thoroughly in other people who need my belief because I have enough of my own. And I wouldn't be able to do that. And there's so many people that wouldn't be on this team, that wouldn't be in my challenge groups, all of that, if I didn't stick it out long enough to grow these other areas from impact and work ethic and grit and all of these things. So you just have to be willing to stick it out. So with that, all of those things, I just really genuinely believe if you want those three things, if you want the success, the long-term fulfillment, or to be here the long haul and to have that fulfillment, you just constantly need to be aware of these, I guess, walls of your house. The foundation is those basic behaviors, the 101, and these are your walls. And this is what we're constantly building and growing and developing. And at the very end of it, if you just become a really freaking awesome human because of it, that's a major win. So I don't think I have anything else right now. Any questions? I have no idea what time it is. Okay, I think we did good. But any questions?
Freaking so good, Jacki. Oh, look, I was taking vicious notes too. I also opened it up to see the screen, and people literally had their notebooks against walls at different points of time that were cooking in the kitchen. It was amazing. Your analogies were on point. So good. Does anyone have any questions? Basically just a lot of chat of how amazing you are and how good that was. So I will get the recording posted, and thank you, Jacki, so much. You look so cute and your hair is so blonde. I just want to squeeze you. Okay. All right. I love you guys. Everyone have a wonderful night. Thanks for being on live. I'll get the recording posted since I know everyone wants it. And see some of you guys in Mexico tomorrow. Bye, guys.